Hey guys, this is Jeffrey, JW146 Blake for Grinderschool.com. Today I'm coming to you with the first of the Grinderschool shorts, short poker strategy videos that we're going to be sharing on YouTube. This one comes to you from Grinderschool Instructor Ghosts, and he's going to talk about push-fold strategy at the end of sit and goes once you get to heads-up play. Enjoy!
Hello ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to be teaching you a quick heads-up strategy for sit and goes. First off, when you get to heads up, if you're below 20 blinds, you can just use the heads up push fold Nash equilibrium chart. It tells you exactly what to do whenever you have 20 or less blinds. As you can see right here, the top chart tells you when to go all in when you have 20 or less blinds. You see if you have any pair at all, you're going to go all in. Any pair, any ace, you're always all in. And any pair, any ace, any suited king, you're always all in. But if you happen to get the heads up quickly, you should just play raise fold. Or against some opponents, you can just limp trap. Those usually on poker starters, if you get to the heads up in the 100, 200, you're usually deep stacked unless you're in a 6 max. So if you're playing just a regular 9-handed tournament on stars or full tilt, you usually wait till about the 200, 400 to use the heads up push fold chart. If you know your opponent is nashing when you get the heads up, you can use the call chart. Other than that, not everyone nashes, so you're just going to have to use your sit and go wizard and make profitable calls. But when you, for example, on stars, when you get the heads up at the 100, 200, you should just probably raise fold, unless they're short. If they're below, if they're at 13 big blinds or below, I would just recommend start nashing. Just nash them. They're not going to be calling profitably enough, and you have to put them out. And most players, they will call way too tight when you do this, so it's really hard for them to make a profit. And especially when you get to the big blind levels, the 200, 400, the 200, 400 level, or the 150, 300 level on stars and mock poker, you just switch to head, you just switch to nashing. But a lot of you're going to find yourself in a lot of situations where you can't nash. Both you and you get you'll get the heads up super quick, and you both have a lot of too many chips to nash. What you need to do then is just grind it out. Grind it out, grind it out, grind it out. You need to be raising super wide, and pretty much anything with equity. Jack 5 suited up, 10-6 suited, any of the hands like that. Jack 10, King 5. You need to be raising very wide heads up. I really don't like to limp heads up unless my opponent is super aggressive, and then you can trap them very easily. Like, a lot of the times I'll get a very aggressive opponent heads up, and the first big hand I get, I'll just limp and they'll just go all in. That's one trick in your book. But unless you're playing against a really aggressive opponent who doesn't like to re-raise a lot and play games with you, it's best just to raise fold. But when you raise fold, it puts a natural trap into your game. They're not going to know if you're raising deuces or if you're raising aces. You're just going to be raising every time, putting lots of pressure on them. If you're going to have to learn how to play lots of small pots, big pots, medium pots. You can't always get it all in with top pair and the worst kicker. You have to be able to put them on hands because unfortunately a lot of people will just flat call your raises heads up, so you really can't put them on the hand. Say if you raise like Jack 5 suited and you flop top pair and they try to get it all in with you on flop, you might want to dump it instead of getting all in with them, because the chances are that they flat called you with something like King Jack, Queen Jack, Jack 10, and they're going to have you out kicked. So you're going to have to work on hand reading abilities too, because some people will call you raise and will try to get it all in on the flop with you if they flop second pair. This also works into this is also really good because it gives you lots of practice to work on your game. Also, if they raise, you can't just nash them. You have to figure out if you want to re-raise them or what. So you would have to put them on a range of hands. If you put them on a range of hands, if they're raising like 25% of hands, like any pair, any ace, pretty much any suited king, king 8, queen 8 suited, queen 10, jack 8 suited, jack 10, 10 9 suited. If they're raising that range, you know that if you pick up something like an ace 8 suited, you can re-raise them. I don't recommend flat calling heads up unless you have something big like kings or aces, but most of the time, even then, I'd still recommend re-raising. The problem is when you flat call, you never know in your head, and it's best with your big hands to just get it all in. And never flat call heads up with the ace king or the large aces. You always want to re-raise them because you never know what's going to be coming on the flop. And 2/3 of the time with the large aces, you're not going to hit anything. So with your large aces, you want to play them quickly. With your aces, kings, and queens heads up, you can flat call and play them really tricky. But those are the only ones. I wouldn't recommend playing jacks or lower tricky. But if we put our opponent on raising like a normal range, like 25% of hands, and we pick up like sevens, we can just re-raise them, just repop them. Also, it depends on how you feel the opponent. If they're just going to call everything, you can just try to get it all in with them. It depends on your opponent. If they're good, you just need to be re-raising them pre-flop and not flat calling them. The worst thing you can do is flat call a bunch at a full table or even heads up, because you never know in your head. You're always weak in the pot. Alright, I hope you've got somewhat of a better idea of what to do when you get the heads up. Thanks for watching.